Captain Li Wujin stood on the bridge of the UES Incheon, watching the stars drift past on the main screen. 3 months into their deep space mission, the routine had become comfortable. Chart new systems, scan for resources, send reports, back to Earth. Nothing exciting ever happened out here in the empty void between civilizations. "Captain, we are approaching the Kepler 442 system," announced Lieutenant Park Da-yoon from the science station. Her voice carried the same calm professionalism she had shown every day for the past 5 years serving under Lee. As the ship's chief, science officer, Da-yoon had joined this mission hoping to discover something new. So far, they had found nothing but empty space and dead rocks. "Standard approach, Lieutenant. Full spectrum scans of all planetary bodies," Lee replied, settling back into his command chair. The Incheon was humanity's newest exploration vessel, equipped with the most advanced sensors and quantum drives available. If there was anything worth finding in this system, they would find it. Commander Kim Tae-ho looked up from his tactical station. "Sir, should I power up defensive systems? We are pretty far from Earth out here." Kim was older than the rest of the crew, a veteran of the resource wars who had seen real combat. He never felt comfortable with their weapons powered down. "No, need, Commander. There is nothing out here but us and empty space," Lee said with a slight smile. "Save the power for more important systems." The Incheon glided silently through the Kepler 442 system. 3 rocky planets orbited close to the red dwarf star, while 2 gas giants hung in the outer darkness. Standard stellar formation. Nothing unusual. Da-yoon ran her scans methodically, checking each world for signs of water, minerals, or anything that might interest the colonial development teams back home. Kepler 442b shows traces of water ice in the polar regions, Da-yoon reported. 442c has significant iron deposits. 442d appears to be a standard carbon silicon world, nothing we have not seen before. Lee nodded. Another empty system to add to their growing list. Humanity had been exploring space for over 2 centuries now, and despite all their searching, they had never found a single sign of alien life. Some scientists believed Earth was unique. Others insisted life must exist somewhere out there in the vast galaxy. So far, the galaxy had remained stubbornly silent. "Captain, I am detecting something unusual," Da-yoon said suddenly, her voice tense with excitement. "There is an artificial structure in orbit around the red giant in the neighboring system." Lee sat forward. "Artificial? Are you certain?" "The quantum resonance patterns are definitely not natural. The structure is huge, sir, at least 3,000 kilometers across, and it is broadcasting a signal." The bridge fell silent. In all of humanity's exploration of space, they had never encountered anything artificial that they had not built themselves. Lee felt his heart beating faster. This could be the discovery that changed everything. "Put the signal on speakers," he ordered. A series of complex mathematical patterns filled the bridge. Prime numbers, followed by geometric sequences, then what sounded like star charts. The signal repeated every 37 seconds with perfect precision. "It is definitely intelligent," Da-yoon whispered. "Captain, this is first contact." Lee stared at the main screen, trying to process what this meant. Humanity was not alone. Somewhere in space, another intelligence was broadcasting into the void, just as humans had been doing for decades. "Kim, what is our tactical status?" Lee asked. "All systems normal, sir. Should I power up weapons?" "Not yet. This is a peaceful contact situation." "Da-yoon, can you analyze the signal further? Try to determine what they are trying to communicate." Da-yoon worked frantically at her station, running the signal through every translation program and mathematical analysis tool the Incheon carried. The signal appears to be some kind of greeting or identification marker. The mathematical sequences are basic enough that any spacefaring civilization should be able to understand them. "Course of action, Captain?" Kim asked. His military training made him cautious about unknown contacts, especially this far from Earth backup. Lee considered carefully. First contact protocols required him to notify Earth Command immediately, but that message would take weeks to reach home, and weeks more for a response. Whatever decision he made here would define humanity's first meeting with alien intelligence. Set course for the signal source, he decided. But maintain safe distance. Dayun, prepare our own mathematical response. If they can broadcast mathematics, maybe they can understand our reply. The Incheon changed course toward the neighboring system. As they approached, the alien structure became visible on long-range sensors. It was massive beyond anything humans had ever built. A dark metallic construct that dwarfed even Earth's largest space stations. The surface was covered with geometric patterns and what looked like weapon emplacements. Captain, I am reading multiple energy sources within the structure, Dayun reported. Power levels are enormous. This technology is far beyond anything we have. Any signs of life? Difficult to determine at this range. The structure appears to be mostly automated, but there are definitely inhabited sections. Lee made his decision. Broadcast our response. Use the same mathematical patterns they sent us, but add our star charts and peaceful intentions. Dayun sent the signal toward the alien structure. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then the alien broadcasts stopped. Completely. Sir, they have ceased transmitting, Kim reported. All communications from the structure have gone silent. Maybe they are analyzing our response, Lee suggested hopefully. Then new signals began broadcasting from the structure. Dayun worked quickly to translate them, her face growing pale as the meaning became clear. Captain, the new transmission is completely different from the first one. The mathematical patterns are more complex, but the basic meaning is clear. They are sending coordinates. Coordinates to what? To Earth, sir. They know exactly where we came from, and the message that follows. Dayun paused, double-checking her translation. The closest translation I can give is new prey species identified. Harvesting commences at dawn cycle. The bridge fell into shocked silence. Lee felt ice forming in his stomach. This was not the peaceful first contact humanity had dreamed of for centuries. Kim, power up all defensive systems immediately. Dayun, send an emergency transmission to Earth Command. Full priority. Tell them we have made contact and we are in serious danger. Yes, sir, both officers replied. As the Incheon's weapons came online, the alien structure began to glow with increasing energy. Docking bays that had been hidden in its dark surface opened like mechanical flowers, revealing rows of sleek ships inside. Captain, multiple contacts launching from the structure, Kim announced. I count over 200 vessels, each roughly the size of our heavy cruisers. Lee watched the alien fleet begin to form up in attack formations. Whatever these beings were, they were not interested in peaceful contact. They saw humanity as prey to be harvested. Set course for Earth, maximum speed, he ordered. We need to warn them what is coming. But as the Incheon turned toward home, long-range sensors showed the alien fleet was faster, much faster. The race to save humanity had already begun. The UES Incheon raced through space at maximum speed, its quantum drives pushed beyond safe limits. Captain Lee Woo-jin stood on the bridge watching the fuel consumption reports with growing concern. They were burning through their reserves far too quickly, but slowing down was not an option. Captain, the alien fleet is gaining on us, Commander Kim Tae-ho reported from his tactical station. At current speeds, they will catch us in 18 hours. Lee gripped his command chair tighter. 18 hours to live. 18 hours before humanity's first contact became humanity's first defeat. How long until we reach Earth? 36 hours at current speed, sir. Lieutenant Park Da-eun looked up from her science station, her face pale with exhaustion. She had been working non-stop for 12 hours, trying to decode more alien transmissions. Captain, I have been analyzing their communications. What I found is not good news. Tell me. Tae-eun activated the main screen showing her translation work. The aliens call themselves the Keth Collective. From what I can understand, they are not explorers or traders. They are harvesters. They travel from system to system, taking everything they want from other species. Taking what exactly? Everything. Resources, technology, genetic material, cultural knowledge. Then they move on to the next target. According to their own records, they have been doing this for over 10,000 years. Kim turned from his station. How many species have they harvested? I have identified references to over 300 different civilizations in their databases. All extinct now. Diane paused, her voice becoming quieter. Captain, we are not their first contact either. We are just their next target. Lee felt a chill run down his spine. Humanity had always wondered why the galaxy seemed so empty of intelligent life. Now they knew. The Keth had been systematically harvesting civilizations for millennia, leaving nothing behind but empty worlds and silence. What about their technology? Any weaknesses we can exploit? Dayun shook her head. Their ships are powered by something they call quantum fusion cores, much more advanced than our plasma drives. Their weapons appear to be focused energy beams that can cut through our strongest armor like paper, and their shields can absorb massive amounts of damage. So we cannot fight them? Not with conventional weapons. But Captain, there is something strange about their technology. Most of it appears to be stolen or copied from other species. The Keth themselves might not be natural inventors. They are more like scavengers who take the best ideas from everyone they conquer. Kim looked up from his sensors. Captain, I am detecting transmissions from Earth. Admiral Choi is trying to contact us. Put her through. The main screen flickered, showing the stern face of Admiral Choi Hee-jin in the command center of Earth Defense Headquarters. Her expression was grim, but determined. Captain Lee, we received your emergency transmission. How much time do we have? Less than we hoped, Admiral. The Keth fleet is faster than our ships. They will reach Earth in approximately 48 hours, maybe less. Admiral Choi nodded slowly. We are mobilizing everything we have. Every ship, every defense platform, every weapon system humanity has built. But Captain, you need to know something. We have been detecting unusual energy signatures throughout human space. The Keth are not just sending one fleet. Lee felt his blood turn to ice. Multiple fleets? Long-range sensors show at least 5 separate attack groups approaching different human colonies. New Tokyo, Mars Base Alpha, Europa Station, Titan Mining, Complex, and Earth itself. They are hitting us everywhere at once. Dayun spoke up. Admiral, this matches their historical pattern. The Keth prefer overwhelming force. They attack every major population center simultaneously to prevent any organized resistance. Then we cannot concentrate our forces, Admiral Choi said. We have to defend everywhere, which means we will be weak everywhere. What about the outer colonies? Kim asked. Can we evacuate them? We are trying, but there is not enough time. Most colony ships are weeks away from any safe harbor. The colonists will have to defend themselves with whatever they have. Lee closed his eyes for a moment, thinking of the millions of humans scattered across dozens of worlds. Farmers, miners, researchers, families who had never expected to face an alien invasion. Admiral, what are your orders? Get back to Earth as fast as you can. We need every ship we have, and the Inchin carries some of our most advanced sensors. Your data on Keth technology might be the key to finding a way to fight them. Understood. But Admiral, you should know that conventional weapons will not be enough. We need something different. Something they have not seen before. Admiral Choi was quiet for a moment. Captain, there is a classified project that might help. Dr. Song Yunbi has been working on theoretical weapons based on stellar manipulation. The technology is untested and extremely dangerous. More dangerous than extinction? Point taken. I will have Dr. Song prepare a full briefing for when you arrive. Choi out. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in tense silence. Lee looked at his crew, seeing the same mixture of fear and determination on their faces that he felt in his own heart. Captain, Dayun said quietly, I have been monitoring Keth transmissions. They are not just coming to harvest us. They are excited about it. From what I can understand, humans have something they particularly want. What? Our genetic diversity and our technological creativity. Most species they have encountered were more specialized than humans. We are generalists. We adapt quickly and come up with new solutions to problems. The Keth find that valuable. Kim laughed bitterly. So they want to harvest us because we are good at surviving. There is some irony for you. There is more, Da-un continued. The Kith do not understand human psychology very well. They expect us to surrender or flee when faced with overwhelming odds. That is what every other species has done. But humans do not surrender, Lee said. No, sir, they do not. And that might be our advantage. The Keth are prepared for every response except the one humans are most likely to give. Which is? A fight to the death, sir. Even when logic says we should run. Lee smiled grimly. Then, let us give them a fight they will never forget. Kim, push the engines even harder. I do not care if we burn out the quantum cores. We need to get home. Yes, sir. Pushing to 110% of maximum rated power. The Inchon shuddered, as its drives strained beyond their design limits. Behind them, the Keth fleet continued its relentless pursuit, closing the distance slowly but steadily. On Earth, Admiral Choi stared at the tactical displays showing enemy fleets approaching from 5 directions. Humanity had dreamed of first contact for centuries. Now that it had finally happened, it might also be their last contact with anything. But humans had survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and the vacuum of space itself. They would not go quietly into extinction. The harvest was coming. But the harvesters were about to learn what happened when they tried to harvest a species that refused to be harvested. Captain Yoon Min-seo stood on the bridge of the UES Seoul, watching the tactical display with growing dread. Humanity's most powerful warship led a fleet of 60 vessels toward the outer edge of the solar system, but even their combined firepower seemed insignificant compared to what was coming. Captain, long-range sensors are detecting the Keth fleet, reported Lieutenant Commander Han Ji-woo from his tactical station. The young officer had risen through the ranks quickly due to his brilliant tactical mind, but nothing had prepared him for this. Enemy contact in 12 hours. How many ships? Min-seo asked, though she dreaded the answer. Over 400 vessels, Captain. Each one appears to be heavily armed and shielded. Chief Engineer Lim Soo-jin looked up from her engineering station. Captain, our plasma cannons are charged and ready. All fusion torpedoes are loaded. But based on the intelligence from the Incheon, our weapons may not be very effective against their shields. Min-seo nodded grimly. The Seoul carried the most advanced weapons humanity had ever built. But they were designed to fight other human ships, not alien harvesters with technology thousands of years ahead of theirs. Admiral Choi on communication channel, Han Ji-woo announced. The main screen showed Admiral Choi Hye-jin in the Earth Defense Command Center. Around her, dozens of officers coordinated the defense of human space. Reports were coming in from all fronts and none of them were good. Captain Yoon, what is your status? Admiral Choi asked. Seoul fleet ready for engagement, Admiral, but we are seriously outgunned. I know. Mars Base Alpha went silent an hour ago. The Keth hit them fast and hard. No survivors that we can detect. Admiral Choi paused, her face showing the weight of command. New Tokyo is under attack now. They are fighting, but it does not look good. Min-seo felt anger building in her chest. Mars Base Alpha housed over 2 million colonists, including families and children. Admiral, our current tactics are not working. We need a new approach. Dr. Song Yoonbi has been working on something, transferring her data to your ship now. The Seoul's computers received a massive data package. Lim Soo-jin studied the technical specifications, her eyes widening. Captain, this is incredible. Dr. Song has designed a new type of fusion torpedo. Instead of a simple explosive warhead, it creates a controlled stellar reaction. Controlled. Stellar reaction? Min-seo asked. It turns the torpedo into a miniature star for about 30 seconds. The energy output is enormous, maybe enough to overload their shields. Han Ji-woo looked up from his tactical display. Captain, the Keth fleet has entered the outer system. They are not bothering with formations or tactics. They are just charging, straight at us. Because they do not think we can hurt them, Min-seo realized. They have done this hundreds of times before. No species has ever given them a real fight. Then let us be the first, Lim Soo-jin said, her voice hard with determination. The Keth fleet approached like a dark wave rolling across space. Their ships were sleek and angular, covered in what looked like organic armor. Energy weapons glowed along their hulls, ready to tear apart anything in their path. All human ships, this is Captain Yoon, Minseo broadcast to the fleet. Today, we fight not just for Earth, but for every species the Keth have destroyed over the past 10,000 years. Make every shot count. The first exchange of fire lit up space like a deadly fireworks display. Human plasma cannons lanced out toward the Keth ships, only to splash harmlessly against their energy shields. In response, Keth energy beams sliced through human vessels like knives through paper. The UES Canberra exploded in a ball of superheated gas. The Berlin lost its engines and drifted helplessly as Keth fighters swarmed over it. Within minutes, 8 human ships were destroyed or disabled. Their shields are too strong, Han Ji-woo reported. Conventional weapons are not penetrating. Launch the new torpedoes, Minseo ordered. The Seoul fired a spread of Dr. Song's experimental fusion torpedoes at the nearest Keth vessel. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then space itself seemed to catch fire as the torpedoes detonated. In miniature stellar explosions, the targeted Keth ship's shields flared brilliant white, then collapsed completely. Follow-up shots from human plasma cannons tore through its hull, sending it spinning away in pieces. Direct hit, Lim Soo-jin shouted. The new torpedoes work. But humanity's celebration was short-lived. The Keth fleet adapted quickly, spreading out to avoid concentrated torpedo strikes. Their return fire became more accurate and deadly. Human ships fell one by one under the alien assault. Captain, we have lost half our fleet, Han Ji-woo reported. The Keth are pushing toward Earth. Minseo watched her tactical display with growing desperation. They were buying time, but at a terrible cost. All ships fighting retreat toward Luna Base. Make them pay for every kilometer. The battle raged across the solar system as human forces fell back toward Earth. Every asteroid belt became a battlefield, every space station a fortress. The colonists on Europa and Titan sent their own small defense fleets, knowing they faced certain death but refusing to surrender without a fight. But the Keth had advantages beyond just superior technology. They had experience. They had destroyed entire civilizations before, and they knew exactly how to break a species' will to fight. As the Seoul limped back toward Earth with only 12 ships remaining from the original 60, Minseo received a communication that made her blood freeze. Captain Yoon, this is colony ship Busan, came a desperate voice. We evacuated civilians from the outer colonies, but Keth hunters found us. We are under attack. 3,000 families aboard, including children. We cannot fight them off much longer. Minseo looked at her tactical display. The Busan was only 6 hours away, but moving to help would mean leaving Earth's defense grid weakened. Admiral Choi, did you receive that transmission? She asked. I did. Captain, I cannot order you to abandon those families, but Earth needs every ship we have. Minseo closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of impossible choices. Save 3,000 civilians and risk billions on Earth, or let the families die to strengthen Earth's defense. Han Ji-woo, plot a course to intercept the Busan, she decided. Yes, Captain. As the Seoul changed course toward the endangered colony ship, Minseo made a promise to herself. Humanity would not become like the Keth. They would not sacrifice the innocent for tactical advantage. If they were going to lose this war, they would lose it while still being human. But deep in Earth's research facilities, Dr. Song Yoon-bi was working on something that might change everything. Something the Keth had never encountered in 10,000 years of conquest. A weapon that could turn their greatest strength against them. Dr. Song Yoon-bi worked frantically in the underground laboratories beneath Earth Defense Headquarters. Around her, the walls shook from distant explosions as the Keth fleet bombarded Earth's orbital defenses. Time was running out, but her calculations were finally complete. Admiral Choi, I need to speak with you immediately, she called through the communication system. Admiral Choi Hee-jin arrived in the laboratory minutes later, her uniform torn and her face streaked with dust. The battle for Earth was not going well. Doctor, please tell me you have good news. I have discovered something important about Keth technology, Song Yoon-bi said, activating a holographic display. Their entire civilization is built around their Dyson sphere in the Keth home system. It collects energy from their star and distributes it to their entire empire through quantum transmission. What does that mean for us? It means they have a single point of failure. Destroy the Dyson sphere and every Keth ship in the galaxy loses power simultaneously. Admiral Choi stared at the display. How do we destroy something that big? Their home system must be heavily defended. I have designed a new weapon. Project Thunderclap. It does not just destroy the target. It destabilizes the star itself, causing a cascade failure that will take out their entire power grid. How many ships would we need for such an attack? Song Yunbi met her eyes grimly. Every ship we have left. And even then it would be a suicide mission. The chances of any crew surviving are essentially zero. Admiral Choi was quiet for a long moment, listening to the sounds of battle above. Doctor, prepare Project Thunderclap for immediate deployment. I will find volunteers for the mission. 2 hours later, Captain Li Wujin stood in the briefing room aboard the Seoul. The Incheon had finally made it back to Earth, though it was badly damaged from fighting Keth pursuit ships. Around him sat the commanders of humanity's remaining fleet. 43 ships, all that remained of Earth's once proud space navy. This is our situation, Admiral Choi began. Earth's orbital defenses will fall within 18 hours. The Keth have landed ground forces on 3 continents. Mars, Europa, and Titan colonies have been completely harvested. We estimate 3 billion human lives have been lost in the past week. The room was silent. Everyone present had friends and family. Among the dead, Dr. Song has developed a weapon that can end this war, but it requires a direct assault on the Keth home system. The mission is classified as zero survival probability. Captain Yoon Min Seo spoke first. Admiral, the Seoul volunteers for the mission. As does the Incheon, Li Wujin added. One by one, every ship captain in the room volunteered. They knew it meant death, but it also meant the chance to save what remained of humanity. Very well, Admiral Choi said. Captain Yoon will command the strike force. You leave in 2 hours. And captains, it has been an honor serving with all of you. The Keth home system was a marvel of engineering that had taken the aliens thousands of years to construct. Their star was completely enclosed in a massive sphere of metal and energy collectors. Trillions of Keth lived within the sphere's interior, feeding off the power of their captive sun. When the human fleet emerged from quantum jump space, alarms immediately began sounding throughout Keth space. No prey species had ever attacked the home system. It was supposed to be impossible. Captain, enemy contacts appearing on all sides. Lieutenant Commander Han Ji-woo reported from the Seoul's bridge. I count over 2,000 Keth vessels between us and the Dyson sphere. They are not taking any chances, Captain Yoon Min Seo observed. All ships execute attack pattern Delta. We punch through their lines and get to the sphere before they can organize a proper defense. The human fleet formed a tight spearhead formation and dove toward the Dyson sphere at maximum speed. Keth ships swarmed to intercept them, filling space with energy beams and guided missiles. The UES Tokyo took a direct hit and exploded instantly. The Mumbai lost its shields and was torn apart by Keth fighters. The Prague managed to ram a Keth cruiser before its reactor went critical, but the human fleet kept moving using their desperation as a weapon. Every ship that died cleared a path for the others. Every sacrifice brought them closer to their target. Chief Engineer Lim Soo-jin worked frantically to keep the Seoul's engines running as enemy fire overloaded their power systems. Captain, we are losing structural integrity. Hull breaches on. Deck 7 through 12. How long until we reach the sphere? Min Seo asked. 15 minutes at current speed, Han Ji-woo replied. But Captain, we only have 8 ships left. Captain Li Wujin's voice came over the communication system from the Incheon. Seoul, this is Incheon. We are going to clear a path for you. Take care of that torpedo. Li, do not do anything stupid, Min Seo replied. Too late for that. It has been an honor, Min Seo. The Incheon suddenly broke formation and charged directly at a cluster of Keth battleships. Its plasma cannons fired continuously as it rammed into the enemy formation, detonating in a massive explosion that cleared a temporary hole in the Keth defenses. Li, Min Seo whispered. then activated ship-wide communications. All remaining ships, final approach. We do this for Lee and everyone else who did not make it this far. The Soul and its 7 remaining escorts dove through the gap toward the Dyson Sphere's primary power relay. The massive structure was the size of a small moon, covered in energy collectors and defensive weapons. Torpedo armed and ready. Lim, Sujin reported. Captain, you should know that detonating this weapon at close range will destroy us instantly. I understand, Chief. We all knew this was a one-way trip. Han Ji-woo looked up from his tactical station. Captain, I am reading massive power buildups throughout the sphere. I think they are trying to evacuate their population. Too late for that, Min Seo said grimly. The Keth had the same choice with every species they harvested. They chose extinction. For others. Now they get extinction for themselves. The Soul's final approach brought them within point-blank range of the power relay. Keth defensive systems fired everything they had, but it was too late to stop the human ship. For every world they destroyed, Min Seo said, her finger hovering over the torpedo launch control. For every species they silenced, for humanity. She pressed the button. Project Thunderclap detonated deep within the Dyson Sphere's power core. The chain reaction was visible from several star systems away, as an entire civilization's greatest achievement became its funeral pyre. Throughout the galaxy, every Keth ship suddenly went dark as their power source vanished in stellar fire. The harvest fleets attacking human space drifted helplessly in the void, their crews trapped aboard powerless vessels. The Keth Collective, rulers of the galaxy for 10,000 years, died in the light of their own star. But the victory came at a price that left the few human survivors wondering if it was worth the cost. The flash of dying light from the Keth home system reached Earth exactly 47 minutes after Project Thunderclap detonated. Admiral Choi Hae-jin stood in the ruins of Earth Defense Command, watching the tactical displays that showed something impossible happening. Every Keth ship in human space had gone completely dark. No power signatures, no communications, no movement. They drifted through space like dead metal sculptures. Admiral, we are receiving transmissions from Mars Colony 7, reported Communications Officer Park Jin-ho. The Keth forces there have stopped fighting. Their weapons are offline. Same report from Luna Base, added another officer. The Keth ground troops are trapped in their landing ships, no power to their equipment. Admiral Choi allowed herself a moment of hope. Could it be? Had Captain Yoon and her brave volunteers actually succeeded? Admiral, this is Colonel Bae Sun-woo from Titan Defense Station, came a crackling transmission. The Keth fleet attacking us just went dark. All ships are drifting. What happened out there? Before Admiral Choi could respond, her chief science advisor, Dr. Kim Hae-rim, approached with a portable scanner. Admiral, I have been analyzing the energy readings from the Keth home system. The stellar disruption was massive. Their entire star went nova and collapsed. Are you saying Captain Yoon destroyed an entire star? Not just the star, Admiral. The quantum energy cascade took out everything in a 20 light-year radius. The Keth home system is gone. Completely gone. Admiral Choi stared at the data display, trying to comprehend the scale of what had happened. Humanity had not just defeated the Keth Collective. They had erased them from existence. Admiral, Communications Officer Park said quietly, we are receiving a transmission. It is very weak, but it appears to be from the Soul. On screen immediately, the main display flickered with static, then showed the interior of a ship's bridge. But it was not the Soul's bridge. The walls were curved and organic-looking, covered in strange symbols. Admiral Choi, this is Commander Kim Tae-ho, aboard the Keth vessel Harvester Prime, came a familiar voice. I am transmitting from the Keth, flagship that was attacking Earth. Admiral Choi felt her knees go weak with relief. At least some of her people had survived. Commander Kim, how did you get aboard their ship? When their power went out, we boarded them. Turns out Keth life support systems have backup power, but their weapons and engines do not. We found survivors, Admiral. Both human and Keth. Keth. Survivors? About 40,000 Keth crew members scattered across their fleet. They are completely helpless without their technology. Some of them are trying to surrender. This presented Admiral Choi with a problem she had not expected. What do you do with the survivors of a genocidal enemy? The Keth had shown no mercy to any species they encountered. Did humanity owe them any mercy in return? Commander, secure all Keth survivors and establish a perimeter around their ships. We will decide what to do with them later. Understood, Admiral. But there is something else. The Keth databanks are intact. We have access to their entire historical database. Dr. Kim Hae-rim stepped forward. Admiral, if those records contain information about the species they harvested, we might be able to learn about hundreds of extinct civilizations. Transfer all data to Earth immediately, Admiral Choi ordered. And Commander Kim, excellent work, all of you. Over the following days, as rescue ships reached the scattered Keth vessels, the true scope of humanity's victory became clear. The Keth Collective had been completely broken. Their empire, which had spanned dozens of star systems, was now nothing more than dead space stations and empty colonies. But the victory felt hollow as the casualty reports came in. Earth had lost over 4 billion people. Mars was a dead world. Most of the outer colonies were gone. Humanity had survived, but barely. Lieutenant Park Da-eun, now serving as chief science officer aboard a captured Keth vessel, worked tirelessly to decode the alien database. What she found changed everything humanity thought they knew about the galaxy. Admiral, you need to see this, she transmitted to Earth. The Keth records go back 12,000 years. They have detailed information about over 400 intelligent species. All extinct, all harvested by the Keth. But Admiral, some of these civilizations were incredibly advanced. The Keth stole most of their technology from other species. They were not inventors. They were just very good at taking things from others. Admiral Choi studied the data as it arrived at Earth. Star maps showing dead worlds that had once been home to thriving civilizations. Technology designs stolen from species that no longer existed. Cultural artifacts preserved only as curiosities in Keth museums. Da-eun, are there any signs that other species might have survived somewhere? I am checking the most recent entries. The Keth were very thorough in their record-keeping. Da-eun paused as she accessed another section of the database. Admiral, wait. There are several entries marked as incomplete harvests or escaped populations. It looks like some members of various species managed to flee during Keth attacks. Where did they go? Unknown. The record suggests they fled to the galactic rim beyond Keth territory. Admiral, there might be survivors out there. Refugees from dozens of different species, all hiding in the outer darkness. This revelation gave Admiral Choi the first real hope she had felt since the war began. Humanity was not alone after all. There were others who had survived the Keth harvests, others who understood what it meant to lose everything to the harvesters. Da-eun, I want you to focus on finding these survivor populations. If they are out there, we need to contact them. Yes, Admiral, but there is something else. The Keth database contains detailed genetic and cultural information about all the harvested species. In theory, we could use this data to restore some of these civilizations. You mean bring extinct species back to life? It would be extremely difficult and would take decades or centuries, but yes. The Keth preserved everything they stole. We could give it back. Admiral Choi looked out through the observation window at the stars. For 10,000 years, the galaxy had been silent because the Keth had systematically destroyed every voice that tried to speak. Now that silence could finally be broken. But first, humanity had to decide what to do with the Keth survivors. Some called for execution, saying the harvesters deserved the same fate they had given to others. Others argued for mercy, saying that humanity should not become what it had fought against. The decision would define what kind of species humanity would become, now that they had inherited the Keth's position as the dominant power in the galaxy. The Mu stars were no longer silent, but what voice would humanity use to speak to them? 6 months after the destruction of the Keth home system, Captain Lee Woo-jin stood on the bridge of the rebuilt UES Incheon. The ship had been reconstructed using a combination of human and captured Keth technology, making it more powerful than anything humanity had built before. Captain, we are receiving a response to our peaceful contact signal. reported Lieutenant Park Da-yoon from her science station. She had been promoted to commander after her work decoding Keth databases. But she still preferred working directly with alien communications. Put it on screen, Commander. The main display showed a strange creature unlike anything in the Keth records. It had 6 arms, crystalline skin, and eyes that seemed to shift color as it spoke. Behind it, Lee could see others of its species working at what appeared to be primitive but functional technology. "Greetings, beings of the small ships," the alien said in heavily accented but understandable human language. "I am Speaker Veltan Moore of the Ashanti people. We have been hiding in the dark between stars for 300 cycles, waiting for the harvesters to find us." Speaker Veltan Moore. This is Captain Lee Woo-jin of the human exploration vessel. Incheon, you do not need to hide anymore. The Keth Collective has been destroyed. The alien's eyes flashed bright blue, which Park Da-eun's translator indicated was a sign of extreme surprise. Destroyed? The harvesters seemed impossible to defeat. How did you accomplish this? We refused to surrender, Lee said simply. Over the following weeks, the Incheon made contact with 17 different survivor populations scattered throughout the galactic rim. All of them were refugees from Keth harvesting operations, some dating back thousands of years. They had survived by staying hidden, never broadcasting signals, never drawing attention to themselves. The galaxy had not been empty after all. It had been silent out of fear. Back on Earth, Admiral Choi Hyejin faced the most difficult decision of her career. In the secure detention facility beneath Geneva, 40,000 Keth prisoners waited to learn their fate. Some were soldiers who had carried out harvesting operations. Others were civilians who had simply lived within the collective society. "Admiral, the War Crimes Tribunal has reached its conclusion," reported Judge Advocate General Colonel Song Min-jun. "They recommend individual trials for all Keth prisoners, with sentences ranging from imprisonment to rehabilitation programs." Rehabilitation? Admiral Choi asked. "Yes, Admiral. Dr. Park Sung-ho has been studying Keth psychology. He believes their aggressive behavior is largely cultural, not genetic. Young Keth who are removed from their harvesting society can apparently be taught to live peacefully." Admiral Choi reviewed the tribunal's findings. Unlike humans, the Keth had been raised in a society where harvesting other species was considered normal and necessary. Many of the prisoners genuinely did not understand why humans considered their actions wrong. What about the older Keth, the ones who planned and led harvesting operations? The tribunal recommends life imprisonment for war criminals, but in special facilities where they can contribute to restoration efforts. Restoration efforts? Commander Park Da-yoon entered the briefing room carrying a datapad. "Admiral, I have been working with the Keth databases and some of their technical specialists. We believe we can use their preserved genetic material to restore extinct species to life." Is that ethical? Playing God with entire civilizations? The Keth stole these species' right to exist. Maybe we can give it back to them. Park Da-yoon activated a holographic display showing complex genetic maps. "We have complete genetic records for over 200 extinct species. We could restore them to life on suitable worlds." And the Keth prisoners would help with this? Many of them want to. They see it as a way to atone for what their people did, bringing back the species they destroyed. Admiral Choi considered this. It seemed fitting somehow. The Keth would spend the rest of their lives undoing the damage they had caused. 3 years later, the first restored species took its first breaths on a world that had been dead for over 5,000 years. The Yilani were plant-like beings who had been harvested early in Keth expansion. Using genetic templates from the Keth databases, human and Keth scientists working together had brought them back from extinction. Captain Lee Woo-jin attended the restoration ceremony as humanity's representative, watching the first Yilani seedlings take root in soil that had been barren for millennia. He felt something he had not experienced since before the war. Hope for the future. "Captain," Speaker Veltan Moore said, approaching Lee with several other alien representatives, "My people have been discussing something important. The harvesters are gone, but their empire left a dangerous vacuum. Without some form of galactic organization, New harvester species might arise. Lee nodded. This was something human leadership had been worried about as well. What do you suggest? A coalition, all the surviving species working together to ensure that no one ever again has the power to harvest entire civilizations. We have been calling it the Galactic Protection Alliance. And you want humanity to lead this alliance? Speaker Veltonmore's eyes shifted to a warm golden color. Captain, your people are the only species in recorded history to successfully fight the harvesters. More importantly, you are the only species that chose to show mercy to your defeated enemies rather than destroy them completely. Lee thought about the Keth prisoners working in restoration laboratories, using their knowledge to undo the damage their people had caused. We will need to discuss this with our government, but I think humanity would be honored to participate in such an alliance. 5 years after first contact, the galaxy was a very different place. The Galactic Protection Alliance included over 300 species, from ancient survivors of Keth harvesting to newly restored civilizations. Trade routes that had been silent for millennia now carried ships from dozens of different worlds. Earth had become the unofficial capital of this new galactic civilization, though Admiral Choi, now promoted to Supreme Commander of Galactic Defense, insisted that all major decisions be made by consensus rather than human decree. The Keth, meanwhile, had found a new purpose. Over 15,000 former prisoners now worked full-time on restoration projects. They had become the galaxy's most dedicated conservationists, driven by the need to atone for their species' past crimes. Commander Park Da-un stood in the observation deck of the new space station Unity, watching ships from dozens of different species dock at the facility's multiple ports. The galaxy that had been silent for so long now buzzed with communication, trade, and cooperation. It is amazing how quickly things changed, said Dr. Keth Velmar, one of the former prisoners who now served as Da-un's research partner. The Keith had adopted human-style names as a sign of their commitment to their new lives. Fear kept everyone silent for 10,000 years, Da-un replied. Once the fear was gone, everyone had a lot to say. Do you think it will last? This peace? Da-un considered the question carefully. The galaxy is a big place. There will probably always be conflicts and problems. But I do not think anyone will try large-scale harvesting again. Too many species are working together now. Too many people remember what it was like to live in fear. Through the observation deck's windows, they could see Earth in the distance, its blue surface dotted with the lights of rebuilt cities. Humanity had paid a terrible price for their victory over the Keth, but from that sacrifice had grown something beautiful. A galaxy where different species could coexist and help each other thrive. The stars were no longer silent. They sang with the voices of hundreds of different civilizations, all committed to ensuring that the dark age of the harvesters would never return. And at the center of it all, humanity stood guard, not as conquerors or rulers, but as protectors of the peace they had fought so hard to create. First contact had been made. The human warship had silenced the stars, but from that silence, a new and better song had emerged.